All right, so like I said, we're going to be doing some bits of forecast. We're going to be looking at what to expect from the markets. We're going to be doing top-down analysis. We're going to be looking at a lot of things tonight, and it promises to be an amazing one. I remember I dropped this forecast on the group, and the box was my heads up for an entry. That exact spot was where I marked out for my entry for a sell. And I remember if I mark that right now, that line was my particular entry that I gave in the group. All right, and then if I trace from that line down, let me just do this. If I trace from that line down, that's about 1,849 points, which means that if you open a trade from my entry, from that entry with 0.1, which is the lowest lot size on step index, at the point where price hits TP3 or TP2, you would have made over $100 in profit. All right, so we're going to be looking at step index from 1000, V75, V10, crash 500, crash 1000. All right, we're just going to look at those major ones over the next couple of minutes. So let's get right into it now. Let's get right into it now. Some of my folks are not here right now, but um, hopefully I'm going to get the recording across on the Telegram group so that everyone can follow up and then look for their own entries at their own convenient time. So to start with top-down analysis, like I said, the first thing that I do is I like to see what the market is saying on the higher time frame, sometimes weekly, but mostly what I do is I look for the overall market bias from from the daily time frame. All right, from the daily time frame, and based on the daily time frame, I could come and map out um, for my VIP students this particular pattern, this particular setup that I just showed. All right, it's something that they're going to be getting in the PDF that I'm preparing for them, in the trading manual that I'm preparing for them. All right, so basically in this scenario, step index has given us a very, very important heads up around the, there's an order block there around the E1 level. So now that we have that bias, the bias is that step index will most likely continue going up. However, we're going to have to come to the lower time frames to perfect our top-down analysis. All right, to perfect our top-down analysis. So right now on the lower time frame, what exactly am I looking at? This is exactly what I'm looking at on the lower time frame. All right, this is what I'm looking at on the lower time frame. This is what I am seeing. Okay, so on the lower time frame, we can see that we already had this rejection at the E1 level. All right, we already had that rejection at the E1 level, which is lying on top of the E1 level from the daily time frame, which is E1 is short for entry one. All right, for my VIP students, I'm sure that they know exactly what that means. Okay, so I would be expecting step index to come all the way up, at least up to somewhere around here on the daily time frame, as a continuation of the uptrend, which is more like a reversal. All right. So one other area that I would be looking at for step index to reverse or start going down, or probably where I will be looking at for my final TP for that buy will be somewhere around here, which would coincide with the order block that is somewhere around here. So please, if you're following what I'm doing, if you get what I'm showing you right now on the chart, please just drop a thumbs up or a comment in the chat box. Let me know that you get what it is that is happening on your screen, that you're seeing on your screen. All right, good, 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 good. So let's go on. So that's my bias for step index. So all along from the lower time frames, I would be looking out for entries, entries, entries all through the lower time frames. All right, I'll be looking for entries to best appropriate my trading direction or to best appropriate this bias. So that is for step index. That is for step index. Apologies if this looks like junk to you. Apologies. You probably need to learn to see the market the way I do. All right, the way I do. So there are a couple of stops that the market might make before it finally gets to that TP. All right, I'm looking at somewhere around here too, somewhere around here too. So um, TP1 would be my first point of call. And the reason why TP1 is my first point of call, as you can see, is that there's an order block somewhere around there. So that is for step index. So let's go quickly into Boom 1000. Boom 1000 is already at TP3 from the sniper entry that I gave last week. All right, I gave this first entry. All right, got to TP2, and then I gave this second entry at the sniper level. All right, this first entry, you see that if you had held on to that first entry on its own, all right, that would have been about that's about 807,000 pips, 807,000 pips. All right, and then the second entry, if you entered from the sniper level, like I always advise, all right, like I always advise, um, that would have been you'd have got about at TP3, you'd have got about 710,000 pips. All right, so but what is next for Boom 1000? Let's go to the daily time frame and see what Boom 1000 might possibly be trying to do. Okay, so for Boom 1000, there are quite a number of possible areas of call. So I'm just going to mark those out with this rectangle here. And those areas that I'm marking out are areas where there have been order blocks in the past. Now, the reason why I believe that Boom 1000 might still continue bearish is because, as you can see, Boom 1000 already made an all-time high. All right, already made an all-time high. It hasn't gone this high in a very long time. Okay, so it's like, when your grandma has not, when you have a grandma who has not jogged or done any exercise in a while, all right, the very first day they end up resuming exercise, all right, you're going to discover that it's going to look as though you are intending to send them off to an early grave. All right, so the three areas that I marked are the possible areas where I'm expecting Boom 1000 to retest. All right, so if it's even going to go up at all, I will be looking for the upward continuation from those areas. All right, from those areas. So what we are having here, according to this, so I will be expecting something like this. All right, something like this. If possible, it comes back to retest this, or it comes back to retest this, either of those two trend lines, and then continues downward. So basically, why I'm showing you this is so that when you get back to your charts, you can mark out all of these areas and look at them for yourself. All right, look at them for yourself, so that if any of them tallies and then price gets into those regions and begins to react, you would basically not need my permission. All right, you basically not need my permission to take your trades. So let's go to the next one. I believe that we are all clear with Boom 1000. Please, if you're clear with Boom 1000, just drop a smiley or an emoji. Let me know that you're clear with that so I can move on. All right, great, great. Are we all together? Do we all understand what I just showed us? Do we all understand what our heads up about Boom 1000 is? Okay, great. Let's go on. So over to V75. I believe we all remember that I dropped this V75 analysis. That was last week also. I dropped this V75 analysis last week, and it played out perfectly. It played out amazingly well. Amazingly well. In fact, it played out surprisingly amazing because I was expecting that along the line, V75 might behave the way it does on a regular basis, but this shocked me. It surprised me to my core. So basically, what are we expecting from V75? This buy, I actually missed out on this buy because I wasn't sitting on the charts as at when price got to that order block. However, what do we expect or what are we looking out for? Let me quickly remove this. So this overall move, Okay, so as you can see, there's a likelihood that V75 begins to drop from here. There's a likelihood that V75 begins to drop from there. So for V75, I might be expecting price to do something like this, come down back into this previous order block zone, back into this previous supply zone. Yeah, that previous supply that was broken. So that would be my outlook for V75. That would be my outlook for V75 because we already even had a doji. But let's quickly see on the daily. What do we have on the daily? What do we have on the daily? Let's see that. Let's see that quickly. Okay, so I think I'm right. So V75 might drop a little bit, then come up and retest that overall trend line from the daily time frame. So the arrows represent what I'm expecting or what I'm looking out for from V75. So if we're clear about that, we already understand what my outlook for V75 is. Please drop an emoji or something in the chat box. Let me know. Okay, good. So next in line, we go to V10. For V10, I remember, I want to believe that we remember that I dropped this particular V10 analysis in the chat group, and then I was showing us that I was looking out for a long sell on V10. However, when the entry presented itself, I wasn't on seat to take that entry as at when it was presented. So I didn't end up taking this V10 trade, even though the opportunity presented itself quite accurately. All right, quite accurately. So, and then you see that based on that that analysis or that entry, all right, we already had TP4 it. So what next for V10? What next for V10? Right now, V10 is making some interesting consolidations, and we might want to see how that ends first before we decide on what next for V10. So on the daily time frame, okay. So on the daily time frame, if V10 continues coming down, if it continues coming lower, this is the area where I would be watching out for a reversal. All right, for a reversal. As you can see, that point is labeled turning point. If you're wondering how I'm getting all of these levels that I'm showing you, then I'm sorry, you just need to get my VIP course if you are interested in knowing how I arrived at those levels. So in order to find my perfect entry, if V10 continues back upwards, all right, if it retraces back upwards, I will be looking for an entry around this zone, all right, around that area. That's where I'll be looking for an entry around that area for the V10. So for V10, my overall bias is that the price or market should still drop further down. Should still drop a whole lot further. All right, should still drop further down. Let's get this out of the way. At least up to somewhere around here. All right, up to the turning point. So if we're clear about V10, please drop an emoji or just give a thumbs up. Let me know that I can move on to crash 500 and then crash 1000. Is everybody okay? Can we move to crash 500 and crash 1000, please? So basically what I'm going to do is once I'm done with crash 500 and crash 1000, I will go over all of the charts once again. I'll go back to them so that for those of you who want to take screenshots, you can actually take the screenshots, all right? You can actually take the screenshots and monitor those areas that I marked out, all right? So that it will be easier for you to follow up on the trades. So here is crash 500. For crash 500, I have a pending buy order, but at this point, I am not so sure anymore. The reason is it's already taken a couple of days for markets to get there, and as you can see, it didn't even touch it. Let me show you why I have a pending order there. So as you can see, I have a pending order there because it was below my E1 level, but unfortunately, the E1 level got tapped. You can see it was just a very short or very brief tap. All right, so what next for crash 500? That would be this. All right, that would be this. And then this. So somewhere around here, we'll be expecting crash 500 to drop into that area, and then from there bounce back up probably to TP2 here. All right, or maybe even to TP1, because I can see there's an order block there. There's another one here. There's another one there. This is crash 500. I'm on crash 500 now, Mr. Williams. Okay. So this is my bias on crash 500. All right. It's going to tap into that zone. It might have already tapped, but I don't believe that has happened yet. So I'm expecting it to do that dance and then start going up. But for me, I'm not moving my pending order. I'm just probably going to just wait to see if there's a rejection at that E1 level before I take my entry. So are we clear with crash 500, please? Is everybody clear with crash 500? If you are, please let me know in the chat box, please. Can we go on, please? Is everybody clear with crash 500 so I can move to crash 1000? For those who are just joining, please don't be perturbed. The video, the recording is going on currently, so the recording will be dropped in the Telegram group for everybody to watch and peruse. All right, so there's no cause for alarm. All right, so next thing, crash 1000. As you can see, I had this analysis on crash 1000 since last week. All right, that was 7th of September. I took the entry, and as you can see, when it got to TP1, I remember I dropped the chart on the group that it had hit my TP1 and I was going to close for the meantime, simply because there was an order block in the way. All right, there was an order block in the way, and I knew that that order block was going to be a major point of reaction. So basically, what are we looking at right now on crash 1000? Let me go to the 1 hour to make this clearer. So this is what we have on crash 1000 right now. All right, that's what we have on crash 1000 right now. So for those who might want to take a trade on crash 1000, one of the possibilities that we might end up having on crash 1000 would be that price comes to break out of that flag. All right, and then price possibly comes back to retest and then continues upwards. All right. So that's basically what I'm seeing on crash 1000 right now. That's basically what I'm seeing on crash 1000 right now. However, I would want to wait to observe how price reacts within that flag. All right. The reaction of price within that flag is what will determine whether my bias or my analysis is right or wrong. Okay, whether it's right or wrong. So quickly, for the next 10 minutes, I'm going to be entertaining questions. So if you have any question about what I've done here so far tonight, please let me know in the chat box right away. If you have any questions, please let me know in the chat box. And if you do not have a question, just drop a comment in the chat box. No questions from here, no questions from here, no questions from here. If you don't have a question, just let me know. No question, no question, no question. And if you would like to make a specific analysis request, also drop it in the chat box right now so we can get that done and out of the way. What time frame is best to be used? Now, what I do, I don't use a particular time frame per se. I don't use any particular time frame. I use all time frames together. Reason being that when you become professional in the market, you realize that every time frame should be giving you the same bias. All right. If for people that trade with my VIP strategy, they can testify to it about the fact that my VIP strategy shows you how to enter trades from any time frame whatsoever. Any, regardless of what the market is looking like at that point in time. All right. So I don't use any particular time frame. However, you might want to use the time frames H1 and 4 hours. All right, because most of the time their biases carry more weight in the market. All right, the biases from the H1 and the H4 carries more bias oftentimes in the market. All right, Mr. Joy is making an inquiry or making a request for gold and NASDAQ. Gold and NASDAQ. Okay. Do we have any other requests? Do we have any other requests, please? Any other requests or questions? Please let them come through right now so that I can take Mr. Joy's request and wrap up there. Are we saying there are no questions and no requests left so that I can address Mr. Joy's request and then we can call it a night? Okay, if there are none in that regard, quickly before I get into Mr. Joy's request, I was telling my VIP students earlier, I was telling the VIPs earlier that I'm working, one of the robots that I am working on, one of the developers that I paid to work on a robot for me actually came through, all right, actually came through, and the final work should be ready by, I think that should be Friday or Saturday, tomorrow or next tomorrow. And basically, I've been just back testing the robots so far, and some of the results have been pretty amazing. This is me testing the robot on V75 on the 1 hour time frame between 1st of April to 30th of June. 1st of April to 30th of June on the 1 hour time frame with an initial deposit of $1,000 with a leverage of 1:200. All right, 1:200. And this was one of the results that I had. All right, let me enlarge that so that everybody can see that clearly. Okay, so basically what this is saying, or what this is showing us, is that on that initial deposit of $1,000, all right, that initial deposit of $1,000, there was a total net profit of $9,935 within 3 months. All right, within 3 months. So far the robot is looking good. However, it is only going to be available to my VIP students first. All right, they're going to be the first set of people to test it, to review it. You know, I'm going to allow them test it on their demo accounts for as long as 2 weeks. All right, they can have a look at it, see what works, what doesn't work, make adjustments as they like. All right, so that's that about that. So before I get into Mr. Joy's request, somebody just asked for Boom 500 analysis. So I'm just quickly going to get into that and then try to jump over to the NASDAQ and dollar. Okay, let's do that right now. Okay, so let's start from the higher time frame, daily time frame. Okay, you have a question? If you have a question, don't just raise your hand, please. If you have a question, drop it in the chat box right now so I know what it is that you want to say. Okay, so what's my bias for Boom 500? Boom 500. This is an interesting setup. There's an interesting setup. Let's look at the 4 hours time frame. The strategy the EA uses. The EA is using one of my more simplistic strategies, all right? I have one simple strategy that I don't teach, all right? At least not yet, not yet. But it's a strategy that works. But the reason why I don't teach it yet is because it's not a strategy that you can easily work with if you're working based on your eyes, all right? If you're not working with specific data, all right, because you need to keep an eye on the figures per time. So if you're not able to keep your eye on the figures, it's more of a mathematical kind of strategy. That's why I'm not teaching it right now. What's the safer leverage for beginners? For beginners, I would suggest that beginners stick with 1:200, especially on synthetic indices, all right? Especially on synthetic indices. So let's quickly look at Boom 500. I'm seeing a couple of interesting things on Boom 500 right now. This is the 4 hours time frame. This is the 4-hour time frame. Okay, so we've had a tap on the E1 level. Price has tapped the E1 level. So what do we have here? So something like this might end up happening. That would be my bias on Boom 500 anyway. And please remember, this is my personal view, all right? This is my personal view. It's not a financial advice, all right? That's a risk disclaimer. It's not a financial advice. So I'm completely absolved of any responsibility regarding any loss that anyone might incur from taking these trades. All right. So please look at what I'm showing you and follow it closely so that we don't end up disliking each other or fighting or quarreling. So this was V25. I dropped the analysis on the group last week also. We're still approaching TP3 right now. And my overall bias for V25 is still very bullish. My overall bias for V25 is still very, very, very bullish. Very bullish, very bullish. I wouldn't say more than that. And my daily time frame is looking a bit rumpled or a bit jagged. Let me quickly clear all of this and see. So that's V25 for you. All right, that's V25 for you. In my opinion, V25 is still very bullish. Still very bullish. So I believe I've answered your question. Okay, all right, that's nice. So I believe I've answered the request of V25. Okay, I believe I've answered everybody's questions except for gold and NASDAQ. So Mr. Joy, I'm going to send your request to the group after this session, all right? I'm going to send your request after this session. My currency chart is on a different MetaTrader, and I'm trying to get it up, but it's not coming up yet. So I want to believe that tonight has not been a complete waste of your time. All right, I want to believe that tonight has not been a complete waste of your time. So please, I would appreciate if you can drop a very kind review on the Telegram group to just let me know that my efforts were all are appreciated. Just say something nice on the Telegram group. Let me know that you appreciate what I did. You appreciate the time. You appreciate everything that I've shown you tonight. And on this note, I want to say I am committed to ensuring that you guys are profitable in the financial markets because it's my duty, it's my job. All right. So I want to say a big God bless you. Thank you so much for making out time to be here tonight. I appreciate your presence. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your being here tonight. The video will be dropped tonight in the next 1 hour. All right. In the next 1 hour, the video will be made available. So for everybody who missed some portions of the analysis, do not fret. All right. It's going to be sent on the group. So once again, God bless you until we meet again or till when next we have a session like this. Have a beautiful and amazing